That night I didn't sleep. The city below kept moving, but my mind replayed everything in slow motion. Their faces, the command in their voices, the silence after they left. It wasn't new. It was just the final echo of something I had always known. I grew up in a house where love had rules, where kindness came with interest. My brother Adam was the favorite, the golden boy who could do no wrong. When he cried, the whole house stopped breathing. When I succeeded, they called it expected. My mother would say, "He's fragile, you're strong," as if strength meant not needing warmth. When I was 16, she lost her job. She cried quietly in the kitchen. My father slammed his hand on the table. "We still have Adam's tuition," he said. I remember washing dishes while they argued. The next morning, I took a part-time job at a cafe. My first paycheck was small, but felt heavy. I used it to buy Adam the sneakers he wanted. My mother smiled and said, "Family is about sharing." I believed her then. Years later, I learned it meant I gave and they took. When Adam failed his classes, I paid his new tuition. When he moved cities, I sent him rent. When he got his first job and lost it, I covered his credit cards. Every time he said, "You're amazing, sis," every time it felt emptier. I wasn't helping him. I was keeping him dependent. My parents called it love. I called it exhaustion. At 23, I bought my first small apartment. I was proud. My father looked around and said, "Small but clean." No congratulations. Just an evaluation. Adam visited the next week. He cried over another breakup. I made him tea, paid his bills, and told myself I was being kind. That kindness turned into habit. Habit turned into identity. I became the rescuer no one thanked. When Adam's business failed, they all came to me. Same words. Same tone. Family helps each other. I wired the money again. I thought protecting them meant belonging. But each transfer erased a little more of me. The more I gave, the smaller I became. They called me dependable. They meant disposable. My father would brag to his friends. "She's resilient." He didn't know resilience was just survival. On my 30th birthday, I waited alone in a restaurant. The candles melted before anyone arrived. When they finally did, Adam was crying again. My mother comforted him. My father took a call outside. I smiled at the cake and whispered, "Maybe the candles were never meant to burn." That was the moment I understood. Love in my family had never been unconditional. It was a ledger, a balance sheet written in guilt. And I was always the one expected to pay the interest. The folder sat on my desk like a living thing. Heavy, silent, waiting to be opened. I poured another glass of wine. The city lights reflected on the surface, fractured like my thoughts. I pulled the first page free. Numbers, names, deadlines. At first, it looked like another family mess I had to fix. But then I saw my own name. Printed, signed, stamped. A signature I didn't remember writing. Cosigner, Evelyn Ward. My stomach turned. I flipped through the next pages. Loans, contracts, emails. Each one carried my forged signature. Each one tied me to debts I never made. My father's handwriting was everywhere. Sharp, confident, careless. He didn't even try to hide it. I kept reading until my eyes blurred. Page 17 stopped me cold. Authorization confirmed via email, July 3. July 3. That day, I was in Lisbon. Time zones away. Someone had used my name like a key. Used it to open doors I never walked through. The wine in my glass tasted bitter. I stared at the papers until the ink seemed to move. My name, my life, used as collateral. I wasn't just the family's safety net. I was their shield. Their excuse. Their insurance policy. A quiet laugh escaped me, sharp and dry. So besides love, they use my name too. The words hung in the air, weightless but cruel. I sat still, trying to find anger. It didn't come. Only stillness. The kind that chills the skin before it burns. I knew this wasn't new. It was just the final layer of a lie I'd lived under for years. The forged documents were only proof. The real crime had always been invisible. Love used as leverage. Guilt dressed as duty. And now it was printed in black and white. I opened my laptop, typed my name in the search bar, checked my emails, my digital footprint. Nothing. No record of authorization. No trace of consent. Just silence. Even my own inbox looked complicit. I turned off the screen. The reflection of my face stared back from the dark glass. Calm, detached. I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Maybe I never had. I walked to the window. The harbor lights shimmered like code, running through glass veins. Anger would have been easier. But this was different. It was awakening. I understood something in that moment. That forgiveness is useless when someone never admits they've done wrong. That family loyalty means nothing when it's forged. The night outside was colder now. The silence felt sharper. I whispered into the empty room. They've been signing my name for years. But this is the last time. And for the first time, the echo didn't sound lonely. It sounded free. Midnight arrived quietly. The city outside had fallen asleep, but my mind was wide awake. Every thought was sharp. Every breath measured. I opened my laptop and began to move. No panic. No tears. Just precision. Step 1. Revoke every authorization my father still held. He once called it a precaution. A safety net in case I was abroad. I believed him then. Now I knew it was a leash. I logged into my account, scrolled to his name, and hovered over the word active. A single click. Access revoked. The sound was small but final. It felt like the snap of a lock breaking somewhere inside my chest. Step 2. Move my assets. I opened the trust account I had created years ago. Back then, it was for emergencies. Tonight, it was for freedom. I transferred every share, every bond, every cent. A message appeared on the screen. Are you sure you want to transfer full ownership? Yes. I typed it slowly. The confirmation line appeared in pale blue letters. Ownership updated. Step 3. Cut the last visible string. The address. My parents still used it as their contact for social and legal mail. I opened the residency portal, changed my official address to a P.O. box. Then I deleted every trace of them. Every shared link. Every forwarding path. A new message blinked. All mail forwarding terminated. The word terminated looked cruel and clean. I stared at it for a long time. Then I whispered, good. The apartment was silent now. Only the hum of the heater filled the space. I walked to the cabinet and took out a small walnut box. Smooth, solid, cold. I wiped the dust from its surface. The scent of wood and air felt almost holy. Inside, I began to build my archive. Every transfer I had ever made for Adam. Every proof of payment. Every sacrifice. I printed them all. Bound them together. A decade of obedience reduced to paper. The sound of the printer was steady, like breathing. Next, I added the forged contracts. My father's crime sealed in plastic sleeves. On top of that, I placed a silver USB drive. Inside was the recording. His voice. If anything goes wrong, I'll blame Evelyn. She can take it. He was wrong. I couldn't. Not anymore. Then I wrote a check for $1. Signed it carefully. On the memo line, I wrote, final family payment. The ink spread like a quiet declaration. I folded a single page of paper and wrote, "You wanted me heartless. Now I am simply what you made." I sealed the box with tape. The scissors hissed through the silence. It was the same sound I remembered from childhood, when I used to help him pack fake reports during the recession. That time, I was saving him. Tonight, I was burying him. The clock read 3:47 a.m. Snow began to fall outside, soft and slow. I poured myself a last glass of wine. Not to forget, but to mark the end. Tomorrow, I would leave. Not running. Just walking away from the fire I didn't start. Morning came pale and quiet. The snow outside had stopped, leaving the city cold and still. I placed the walnut box by the door. No note. No explanation. Only the name written in black ink. For Robert and Margaret Ward. Then I walked away. By noon, they arrived. Robert pressed the bell twice, impatient as always. No answer. Only silence. He frowned and looked around. Then his eyes caught the box. Heavy, sealed, waiting. Margaret bent down and touched it. "It's freezing," she whispered. Maybe she left a check. Robert lifted it, his hand trembling slightly. He carried it inside the apartment and tore the tape open. The lid snapped like a warning. The scent of paper and wood filled the air. He stared at the folders stacked neatly inside. Numbers, receipts, contracts. A voice recorder. And a single check. Margaret leaned closer, confusion spreading across her face. Robert pressed play. My voice filled the room, calm and sharp. "Mom, Dad, you always said family is everything. But you never asked if I was still a person in it." Margaret gasped. Robert froze. The recording continued. "There's no money here. Only the things I've paid for. If you're looking for someone to blame, try the mirror." Margaret's voice cracked. "She's blaming us now, after all we've done." Robert ignored her. He opened the folder marked Transactions. 40,000 for tuition. 25 for rent. 400 for crypto losses. The list went on. Every page a confession they never meant to make. He turned faster, hands shaking. Then a small envelope slipped free. Proof of forgery. He ripped it open. Inside were 2 signatures. Side by side. One real, one fake. The difference was obvious. Even to him. A small red line of blood appeared on his finger, where the paper cut him. He didn't notice. Margaret grabbed another page, desperate. An email printout. From him. "Don't worry, Evelyn will cover it. She owes us for life." Her lips parted. The words were bolded. "Owes us for life." Her face turned pale. "When did you send this?" she whispered. Robert said nothing. The weight of his silence filled the room. He looked at the check. $1. On the memo line, final family payment. Margaret laughed, brittle and shaking. "She thinks this is funny." The recorder answered. $1 isn't a joke. It's a settlement." Robert stood by the window. The snow began falling again, soft and relentless. His reflection looked older. Smaller. He whispered, "She was right." Margaret reached for the papers, desperate to hide them. "Put them away. Don't let anyone see." Robert shook his head slowly. No more hiding. He turned toward the family photo on the wall. For the first time, he noticed how Evelyn stood slightly out of frame. He took the picture down and placed it face down on the table. The glass clicked softly. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside, the house of control finally broke apart. 2 days later, I was gone. No message. No forwarding address. Just an empty apartment and the sound of snow melting. I drove south until the skyline disappeared behind me. Seattle shrank in the mirror like a ghost fatting from glass. I didn't look back. By dawn, I reached Savannah. The air there felt softer, almost forgiving. I checked into a small apartment near the river. The landlord handed me the keys without asking questions. New name. New start. Evelyn Hale. It felt strange at first, saying it out loud. But the sound tasted clean. I unpacked one suitcase, one plant, one cup. That was all I needed. The rest I left behind, along with the girl who always said yes. In the evenings, I walked by the water. The city hummed with life I didn't have to fix. Nobody knew me. Nobody needed anything. For the first time, that felt like peace. A week later, the phone buzzed. Natalie, my old colleague, texted 3 words. They found out. The message came with a link. I tapped it. Breaking news. Ward and Sons Construction under investigation for forged documents. I scrolled slowly. My father's face appeared beside the headline. My mother's name under civil inquiry. My brother, Adam, bankruptcy. I didn't feel triumph. Just an exhale that had waited years to leave. Natalie called. They'll ask for your statement, she said. I'll handle it, I replied. She hesitated. You sure you want silence? Yes, I said. Let my silence answer them. The next day, I sat at a cafe near the square. Warm air drifted through the window. My new neighbor, a florist named Iris, smiled and offered me coffee. We talked about nothing. Flowers, weather, music. It felt unreal, how normal life could be. Then my phone rang again. Adam. The screen flashed his name for a long time before I answered. His voice was broken, panicked. Please help me. They're freezing my accounts. I closed my eyes. The words were the same as always. The tone hadn't changed. He still believed I would fix it. I almost said yes. The habit lived deep. Then I looked out the window, the sunlight hitting the water. I'm not your lawyer anymore, Adam, I said. Silence. He didn't understand. He hung up without goodbye. The call ended with a faint click, but the sound echoed like a door closing. That night, I slept without waking. No nightmares. No guilt. Only quiet. Freedom didn't roar. It whispered. It came in small breaths, in empty spaces that no longer needed to be filled. In the morning, I brewed coffee for one. The cup was light in my hand. And for the first time, it didn't feel lonely. It felt earned. It was late afternoon, and the phone rang again. Unknown number. For a moment, I thought about letting it fade to silence. But something made me answer. The line crackled softly, before a familiar voice spoke. Evelyn, he said. My father. The name I hadn't heard in weeks. The air felt heavier. He didn't sound like the man I remembered. No authority. No thunder. Only weariness. I heard you left, he said quietly. I said nothing. He breathed hard, like each word cost him something. You destroyed the family, he murmured. Then after a pause, but maybe it needed to be destroyed. The confession was clumsy, fragile. I waited. He continued, slower now. I wanted you to be strong. But I never learned how to love someone strong. The sentence landed softly, but it cut through years of silence. I stared at the window, watching the sunlight fade. He said, your mother doesn't understand. Adam won't talk to me. The house feels empty. His voice broke on the last word. Empty. I almost said, now you know. But I didn't. Instead, I asked, why are you calling me Dad? He hesitated. I don't want money, he said. I don't want forgiveness either. I just wanted to hear your voice once. For a long time, I didn't speak. The quiet stretched between us like a fragile bridge. Then I said softly, you could have called years ago. I know, he whispered. I was too proud, too afraid. There was no argument left in him. Only truth. The kind that arrives too late, but still matters. "I'm sorry," he said. Not loud. Not rehearsed. Just real. It wasn't enough to fix the past. But it was enough to stop it from owning me. "I don't hate you," I said. "I just stopped waiting for you to be someone else." He exhaled, long and shaky. "Do you think we'll ever talk again?" "Maybe," I said. "If you bring coffee. And not a folder full of lies." He laughed once, quiet and broken. The sound didn't hurt anymore. "I think I can do that," he said. The line went silent, except for the soft hum of distance. We stayed like that for a while, breathing the same silence. Not family. Not strangers. Just two people finally telling the truth. When the call ended, I didn't cry. I sat by the window until the sky turned gold. The river moved slowly, steady and endless. I thought about the little girl who used to wait for her father's praise. She didn't live here anymore. In her place stood a woman who no longer begged for permission to rest. The phone lay still beside me. Outside, the first lights of evening began to bloom. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to answer anything at all. 3 months passed. Savannah bloomed with quiet light and salt in the air. I rented a small room at the community center by the river. Every Saturday morning, I spoke to women who sat in silence, just like I once did. The program was simple. Financial boundaries for women. No speeches. Just truth. I told them about control, disguised as love. About guilt sold as loyalty. About saying no without apology. They listened. Some cried. Some just nodded, the way survivors recognize each other. I didn't tell them my full story. They didn't need it. They only needed to know that freedom is possible. When the class ended, I walked outside with 2 cups of coffee. I placed one on the empty bench beside me. The river shimmered like glass under sunlight. I smiled at the space next to me, not lonely, just open. Someone would sit there one day. Maybe him. Maybe no one. Either way, it was peace. Because freedom, I finally learned, isn't about running away. It's about standing still and knowing the world can no longer take your name.